So, my last week working my notice of my corporate office job didn't quite go to plan. After quitting my job to become a full-time ceramic artist, I ended up catching COVID and finishing my last week of work in bed ill. Chaz ended up testing positive for COVID. I tested positive as well. Not got to have my last week of work. I had to spend it all off sick. After spending over a week recuperating and resting up, I started to feel more myself, and after a fresh buzz, I was ready for my first day as a full-time ceramic artist. So today's Monday and it is officially the first day of me being self-employed full-time. First day of being my own boss, which is a little bit of a challenge to get my head around. My brain's going to take a little while for that to sink in, that I'm never going back to my part-time job and I've just got my life now stretching out in front of me. Free to do whatever I want to do. No rules or anything, it's all going to be led by me. Bit of a daunting task, but I think I'll manage it. As much as I really wanted to hit the ground running with my business, that last part of COVID seriously kicked my butt. Obviously, could have been a lot worse. I'm very grateful it hasn't been. So I normally start my day off by doing some yoga and then going for a walk as I'm confined to the house. And to be quite honest, I don't think I'm really up to actually even going for a 5-minute walk at the moment. I'm gonna do some very chilled out yoga, which pretty much just involves lying on the floor in different positions with cushions. I've got all the cushions. So in other news, I now have glasses, which I haven't needed to wear glasses since I was a child. So it's taken a little bit of getting used to, but there we go. Studious Maz. I got a little bit distracted by giving my desk a little bit of a spruce. It was looking a little bit dirty and dusty. It's a space that I was also using to work remotely for my part-time job. So I thought it'd just be a good opportunity to sort of get it all nice and clean and organised, ready for my first day at working as a full-time ceramic artist, which I will continue to say multiple times throughout this video. So regards trying to look for an organisational tool, as you may know from my previous videos, I've talked a lot about how planning and organisation is definitely one of my weak areas. I wanted to find an organisational tool that wasn't going to be too complicated, easy to use, and was just something I could just get started with. So I decided to go with Google Calendar and Google Tasks. I just wanted something where I can keep an eye on all of the tasks that I want to do, chuck in all my little projects, put in little subtasks and things like that, have a calendar where I can do some time blocking. So far, to be honest, it seems to be working quite well and it's free, so no complaints from me. Oh, this is new, isn't it? Having a hot drink and having it steam up your glasses. Missing out on that fun. I ordered myself a little planner the other day. It's literally just a lined notebook with a space for a day. I'm going to be using as a bit of a business journal. That's the plan anyway. I'm going to have a little sit and work out what my goals are for the week. Obviously keeping it nice and chilled out. Just gonna have a smaller list of tasks, keep my expectations low for myself and make sure I'm scheduling in lots of breaks. Hopefully a realistic set of goals for me for this week. So other than doing my weekly newsletter update, the main focus for this week is just pottery painting, getting all those pieces painted, ready for the glaze firing, which hopefully will be able to be pushed back. I've got a jug that I've almost finished, so I'm gonna go downstairs and carry on working on that. Definitely will be able to get that done today. There's a really small amount left to work on it. And then I'll be starting on a large piece, which is these sort of like storage shelves, which I'm quite excited to show you. Wasn't kidding about the COVID having kicked my butt. I'd left all my painting stuff inside the house, so I've just spent sort of the past 10 minutes ferrying everything across and getting it set up, and now I'm just like, oh, I feel like I could have a little nap, to be honest. I think that's probably the furthest I've walked in over a week. So I'm just gonna sit and have a little sip of my coffee before I get started. This was the jug that I was talking about earlier. It's always quite challenging trying to get this so that it's actually in focus on the camera. So I wanted to do sort of a story style design on this piece. So basically, as you turn the jug, it tells a story. I've only put 2 images on it. So on this first one, we've got a little caterpillar with the flower, and then as you turn it round, they've turned into a butterfly. I haven't quite finished the face on this, and then I also wanted to add a little heart above as well and colour it in red just to give it a little pop of colour in there. I've been having a lot of fun with this new collection, playing around with my just blue and white theme and then just adding in just small amounts of colour here and there and really limiting my colour palette. Like I said, not very much left to do. Let's get going. So I finished painting this little jug. It's basically just going to be telling a little love story between the caterpillar and the flower. So I depict a lot of genderqueer characters in my pottery. I often feel like the kind of genderqueer trans community is quite underrepresented in artwork. So being non-binary myself, it's on a personal level quite important for me to be sort of showing that in my art. The thing that I was drawn to with having the caterpillar into the butterfly is that kind of ultimate transformation. We go through so many different changes throughout our life, and I think especially within the LGBTQIA+ community, does often happen a bit later in life as well. You can kind of go on to have these later transformations. I just wanted to tell this little love story alongside one of the characters going through their own transformation. That's my attempt at trying to collect my thoughts and sort of what it was that I was trying to express in that piece and what inspired it. I am now going to go and have some lunch as my alarms keep berating me. Yes, I do need to set alarms to remind myself to eat all 3 of my meals. Right, so I'm back after having had a nice relaxing break from my lunch. I'm now moving on to this big piece. So I don't exactly know what to officially call this. Let me move you down here. So it's so big it doesn't even fit in the camera there. There we go, now it's in there. In my head this is called a cabinet of curiosities. My thought process with this piece was basically that I really like collecting things. When I'm going along the seashore or going into the woods, if I see like a feather or shells or stones and things like that, like I love like a pebble, shingly type beach, I can spend ages just picking up interesting looking stones and shells. And then I get back and I'm like, don't really know what to do with these now. There's not really anywhere to put things like that, like trinkets and stuff. Tell you what would have been a really good idea was if I'd brought some things out with me to demonstrate. You know what? Hold on a second. I'm gonna go grab some things. I'm back. So, explain this a bit better. Thought it would just work really nicely as somewhere to keep all your little finds. Got my little troll there. So it's a really nice way of being able to display those little trinkets and pieces that you might collect on a wall, items that have no real monetary value to them but have that nostalgic sort of emotional connection to them, because maybe you might pick up a piece and it might remind you of somewhere that you visited and all those kind of memories. But I thought, you know, this could be a really lovely piece to display all those treasures, and if you're somebody that goes on regular walks, it's even something that you can kind of refresh. You might have some really nice autumnal leaves that you collect on a walk, and then once they start to decay a little bit, you go on another walk and collect some more pieces to put in it. My cabinet of curiosity. Because this is quite a large piece, and in my collection I kind of suppose if we're going to be using the bake-off terms, I'd call it one of my showstopper pieces. I want to spend a bit more time having a bit of a think and a plan out about how I want to decorate it. So I'm a little bit apprehensive as well with this piece because I've never painted anything remotely this shape before. I want to make sure that there's a little design on the back of each of these bits here in these different sections. I think it'd be really nice when you're looking at it to have sort of a little design on the background, but it's very hard to paint. So when you've got walls like this and you're trying to sort of have to get in to these spaces, I find I have to hold the paintbrush in quite an unnatural way. I've got my sketchbook, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time having a play around with some designs and sort of deciding what style it is that I want to paint this little cabinet of curiosities in. So I finished doing my initial design. So kind of got two birds either side here, and then a little flower couple in the middle, and then the sun and the moon, and then I've got two rainbow cloud characters. So I'm going to paint the inside part here on all of them with my white underglaze, and then I'm going to leave the sort of edges, those sort of parts here, I'm not going to paint those, and I'm going to leave them the sort of natural clay colour, which you can see there on my little test tile. So let's just get started and go for it. So it's about 5 o'clock now. That's me done for the day, and I'll be picking it up again tomorrow. So it's quite difficult because the colour difference is very faint when I'm painting with white. Obviously once it's been fired, the colour of the clay becomes more of a sort of beigey colour, and it's just generally a bit darker, so it's very clear what I have and haven't painted once it's actually been fired. But when it's in this bisqueware state, the clay colour's a lot paler, so I think you can just about see in the light that I've painted the inside of these 3 sections, and I've still got to do the white base for the top 2. That's the end of my first working day being a full-time ceramic artist, which still got to wrap my head around that. But as a first day, considering how unwell I felt this week and still felt yesterday and how exhausted I've been, I'm actually really pleased with how much I got done. I feels quite promising that this week's not just going to be me pretty much just lying on the sofa some more. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.